On this edition of the Desert Vision, we take to the sky as Joint Forces airdrop supplies.
Al Jaber International Stadium hosts a history-making soccer game.
And the 195th take care of horses at the Ministry of Defense.
Welcome to the Desert Vision presented by U.S. Army Central. I'm Sergeant Marty Borton.
And I'm Sergeant Bethany Huff. All of those stories and more coming up. But first, we go to a very special event honoring wounded warriors and giving them closure on their past.
When you join the military, there is always the possibility of deploying to combat zones and engaging with the enemy. However, some of these troops don't make it home as they left, either physically, emotionally, or in some cases, both. Thanks to Operation Proper Exit, these soldiers have the opportunity to come back to the site of their injuries and engage with the troops located in the U.S. Army Central's area of operations.
Gives them an opportunity to go back to theater and then leave on a regular aircraft, but also to share their stories of resiliency with the troops on the ground.
When I opened my hand, it exploded, completely severed the hand off at the wrist.
It gives a lot of courage to a lot of other service members that it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to take that step into uncomfortable situations.
I heard one of my friends, Jeff Kettle, die on the radio. I listened to his last breath. Things are hard, and all it is
they feel that they are their brothers, and they want to see them succeed and be successful. They want them to know that if they're having problems, they should reach out, talk about their problems, find the answers that they need to help them continue to move forward.
Actually, Rick Kell back here helped me coin a term called a new normal. I don't have normal anymore. We have a new normal. It's like
This is the 21st Operation Proper Exit to pass through U.S. ARCENT's area of operation since the founding in 2009, and hopes are high that it will continue to grow.
Shot him just below his helmet and pretty much killed him instantly.
I definitely want to see this program continuing. Operation Proper Exit has done so much for so many, and I want to jump on every single one that I can possibly go on because it gives me an opportunity to reach out to the troops.
My fellow Rangers put me in for the Medal of Honor.
There are many resources for soldiers to help heal and rehabilitate, but this is the only program that allows these brave men and women the chance to revisit the past and have a proper exit back home.
To me, it represents everybody who has served, everybody who is serving, and especially those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. Rangers, lead the way.
For U.S. ARCENT, I'm Army Sergeant Marty Borton. You know, going to this event and listening to these other soldiers' story, it was quite powerful, and it was an amazing experience.
I bet it's a really beneficial experience for, the participants as well as the soldiers themselves.
Absolutely. Medical personnel are continuing to strengthen their relationship with Kuwaiti Armed Forces. Recently, we got to sit in on a medical evacuation meeting. Take a look.
Kuwait Armed Forces Hospital hosted their first medical evacuation meeting, normally held on Camp Arifjan with partner nations. The partnership has waxed and waned through the years, but Area Support Group Kuwait is focused on revitalizing the partnership with Kuwaitis with this quarterly event. Joint forces from Kuwait and the U.S. participate in practical exercises such as mass casualty and medical evacuations, which help strengthen the bond between partner nations. For U.S. ARCENT, I'm Army Sergeant Bethany Huff.
Once a soldier.
A soldier for life.
Welcome back to the Desert Vision. Soldiers from the 936 Expeditionary Terminal Operating Element are making history while assisting current units in the U.S. ARCENT Theater of Operations. Sergeant Marco Gutierrez was on site at Port Schweba for the process.
Can you imagine transporting 222 million pounds of cargo? Well, soldiers of the 936 ETO don't have to imagine because they're doing it. They're moving over 1,100 pieces of military equipment through Port Schweba, Kuwait.
I believe everything that we do is very crucial to the mission because we handle billions of dollars.
This is the first time an ETO unit has deployed, and they're making history.
I feel very honored as a junior enlisted. It is the first time in my military career that I've ever been deployed, and it's the first time in the Army that we've actually done ETO mission. We're marking history, and I'm very proud to be part of that history.
They are assisting the 1st Armored Division redeploy by supporting the movement of over 450 pieces of equipment back to the States, while at the same time helping deploy the 1st Cavalry Division by moving over 700 pieces, an operation that is unique and one of a kind.
Every part that every soldier has is very important. Whether it's tallying, we need to make sure that all the pieces are accounted for. Whether it's gates, we need to know that there's no double slots of the same equipment in the same vessel. The stow plan, we need to have a plan just in case something doesn't go accordingly to what we've planned, and make sure that everything gets loaded onto the vessel.
For U.S. ARCENT, I'm Army Sergeant Marco Gutierrez.
The mission is a validation not just for the 936, but for all future ETO missions.
In order to get supplies into areas unable to receive shipments from helicopter or truck, service members use fixed-wing aircraft to drop cargo into designated landing zones. The 1st Transportation Support Command, Special Operations Joint Task Force Riggers, and the Special Purpose Marine Air Ground Task Force MV-22 Osprey air crews conduct a joint airdrop exercise at Camp Beering, Kuwait.
Today we're conducting aerial delivery operations, airdropping CDS bundles of water and door bundles of MREs for training to certify crews in aerial delivery.
The Marines load the cargo onto the Osprey and secure it to ensure that it does not move during transportation. After the crew double checks that everything is ready, they take off and drop the cargo at a designated drop zone. Exercises like this grow relationships between branches located in the U.S. ARCENT area of operation.
Building this capability of aerial delivery with the Joint Task Force just builds upon the capability to sustain the warfighters on the front lines.
For U.S. ARCENT, I'm Army Sergeant Marty Borton. Exercises like this promote cooperation between services and enhances the capabilities of all troops.
Our sit-down with Lieutenant Colonel Smith and much more right after this.
I can't do this anymore. I can't do us. What's wrong with you? It's not getting.
You are dealing with pain, anger, a heaviness. It feels like there is no way out. It seems like you are in this by yourself, battling alone. But you are part of one Army family, shoulder to shoulder with a community there to get you through these hard times. There is no shame, no guilt in seeking out help. So if you are struggling, feeling depressed, or even having thoughts of suicide, it is time to talk to someone. Your Army family is committed to finding you the strength and hope you need to rebound from adversity. Because, above all else, our most essential resource is you.
Hey there, high speed. That's not the proper salute. The tomahawk, the eye patch, the head tilt, the almost, the top hat, the flash, the first down, the Boy Scout, the cigarette, the switch hitter, and the ever famous Dodger. Those salutes you just saw are a no-go. Don't be that guy. Render the proper salute.
Big changes are coming to Camp Beering as one division moves in and another heads home. The 3rd Armored Brigade Combat Team of the 1st Armored Division, led by Colonel Robert McGee, finished their mission and is ready to head back, while Colonel John Woodward brings in the 3rd Armored Brigade Combat Team from the 1st Cavalry Division. Major General Blake Ortner, the commander of the 29th Infantry Division, conducted the ceremony.
The first ever Scimitar Sports Challenge is in full swing. The event kicked off with a soccer game between the Kuwait National Army and the Camp Arif John U.S. Army soccer team. Army Sergeant David Graves is on the field for the game. Sergeant Graves, how's the weather looking today?
Yeah, it's a little cloudy, there's a little bit of humidity, but honestly, it's a great day for a soccer game. I tell you, being down here definitely beats being in the studio right now.
I see. Just rub it in. It seems like everyone's ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Both teams are out warming up. You can see the Kuwait team over here behind me, and over here to this side we've got the U.S. team getting ready to go. This is the first time these two teams have played against each other, so everybody's fired up. We're ready to get this thing started. The Scimitar Challenge kicks off with a friendly soccer game between Camp Arif John's U.S. Army team and the Kuwait National Army's team at Al Jaber International Stadium. A Kuwaiti marching band played both national anthems, and the teams took the field. Waleed Nassar was excited to play against the U.S. and ready to start the competition.
We are here to prove ourselves against our American brothers who are challenging us. It's not only challenging us in soccer, but in basketball and volleyball. But the most popular game in the world is soccer. So we are looking forward to proving ourselves, and it will be a crushing win for us.
Both teams came out filled with energy, and in the 44th minute, Kuwait struck first, taking a 1-0 lead. Down 2-0 at halftime, head coach Solomon Preko's confidence was unshaken.
I have 100% trust in these guys. I've been with them for a long time. We started this journey last year on AJ. I believe we can do it. I have a lot of confidence in them.
The 90-minute contest ended with Kuwait scoring on a penalty kick to end the match at 5-0. A decisive loss didn't affect the morale between the two teams, and goalie Chris Driscoll saw it as a chance to become closer to his Kuwaiti partners.
We don't speak the same language, but playing the game, we all love it. And so we just made a whole bunch of new friends just playing a game, not talking to each other, just being around each other with the body language, playing in the natural competitiveness that humans have.
While trophies fade and bragging rights soon become long forgotten, the shared love of an international sport builds a bond that will remain unbroken. Reporting from Al Jaber, I'm Army Sergeant David Graves.
The Scimitar Challenge spans nearly 2 months and consists of basketball, soccer, and volleyball, and a 5K run. Sergeant David Graves sits down with Lieutenant Colonel Felton Smith, who created the Scimitar Challenge, coming up right after this.
Welcome back to the Desert Vision. Joining me now, Lieutenant Colonel Felton Smith of ASG Kuwait, Director of Host Nations Affairs and the creator of the Scimitar Sports Challenge. Sir, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
So we'll get into a little bit about what the Scimitar Challenge is, who is involved, and what all does it entail?
Yeah, so the Scimitar Sports Challenge, I mean, it's very similar to the traditional Commander's Cup sporting events that you see on just about every base. However, we've got a little bit of different flair to it in the fact that it's the Kuwaiti military versus the U.S. military with our coalition partners that are stationed here at Camp Arifjan. So this year was a little bit unique because we started a little bit late in the year, but it's 4 different sporting events. We've got soccer, a 5K run, we'll have a volleyball tournament, and a basketball tournament. And of course, at the end of the 4 games, whoever has the most points wins the Scimitar Challenge. And there's a nice fancy scimitar trophy that we have. And it's going to be kind of unique that we'll do this from year to year. So that scimitar will be passed from winner to winner each year, very similar to the Stanley Cup.
Okay. And you created this challenge. This is your baby. So what is the purpose of it? Why would you bring something like this to life?
So it's really kind of 2 points. And one of the fun things that I get to do over in the host nation affairs is we really like to foster the Kuwaiti-U.S. relationships. You know, we're partners with Kuwait. We've been here a long time, and I think we're going to be here for many, many years into the future. So anything that we can do to improve our relations with Kuwait is great. We do that with our MWR tours. We have cultural awareness training where we're letting soldiers know, you know, how to act and respect the Kuwaiti culture, but be a part of it.
It's a lot of pieces, a lot of moving pieces, it seems, to get all of this stuff coordinated. What kind of roadblocks and stressors did you run into to get this off the ground?
Surprisingly, very few. The Kuwaitis are, like I mentioned earlier, they are very gracious hosts, and they will bend over backwards to do events with us. I would have never in my wildest dreams would imagine that we would have the first soccer game in Jabr Stadium, which is the premier stadium here in Kuwait. But they jumped in, I mean, added all the graphics and did all the sounding and pictures and everything that they could do for us there in the stadium. So from the Kuwait side, really very few. But this is not necessarily just an MWR fun thing. This is actually a mission that we have in fostering this relationship with Kuwait.
Do you have a final message for anyone involved, whether they be Kuwaiti or military, for us?
Absolutely. I just encourage every soldier to get out and enjoy Kuwait as much as you can. Take some time to get out on the MWR tours, do the sporting events, anything that you can do to interact with Kuwaitis. You'll enjoy it, and it helps us with our mission of furthering our Kuwaiti partnership. And just remember, I mean, you're ambassadors for the U.S. while you're in Kuwait. So get out and enjoy Kuwait.
Absolutely. Again, that's Lieutenant Colonel Felton Smith of ASG Kuwait, Director of Host Nations Affairs, and the creator of the Scimitar Sports Challenge. We'll be right back after this.
Thanks.
I was a witness to a sexual assault.
My battle buddy was harassed.
I will not let fear hold me back.
I refuse to stay quiet.
I have the personal courage to intervene.
I will not let offenders escape justice.
I'm speaking up.
I am taking a stand.
I'm a survivor of sexual assault.
If you've been a victim or witnessed sexual violence, break the silence. Say something.
While the medical teams in Kuwait are equipped to handle nearly every situation, there's one area that the 195th lends a major hand. Army Sergeant Marco Gutierrez goes to the Ministry of Defense to take a closer look at the horses.
An old saying is, never look a gift horse in the mouth. However, soldiers of the 195th Medical Detachment Veterinary Service Support out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, look everywhere for medical conditions. The visit to Kuwait Ministry of Defense Equestrian Center included diagnosis of symptoms and suggestions for injured horses.
Today we looked at a mare who had chronic laminitis and was in the healing stages about 6 months after diagnosis, and seems to be doing pretty good. We also saw a mare, 15-year-old mare, who was exhibiting signs of lameness, limping on the front right, and we did a workup, and I narrowed it down to a shoulder ailment.
Soldiers of the 195th are not just helping horses during the visit, but improving relations with the host nation.
We have what's called a partnership. It's a military to military. It's called Mill-Mill.
a partnership with the Kuwaiti Ministry of Defense. And part of this compound, the military compound, is the Equestrian Center. And as veterinarians, as part of a forward deployed veterinary detachment, this gives the veterinarians an opportunity to establish a partnership with the host nation.
The mission for these vets expands the scope of U.S. Army Central operations.
As a forward deployed veterinary detachment, we have teams. We actually cover the entire AO. So we have a veterinary team in Qatar, we have a team in Iraq, a small team in Jordan, and then 3 different teams here in Kuwait.
While the trip is alleviating the horses' injuries, it is also building trust and friendship with our allies. Reporting from U.S. Army Central, I'm Army Sergeant Marco Gutierrez.
Thanks! I guess being nose to nose with one of those horses is not the best idea.
I guess not. Well, that does it for this edition of the Desert Vision.
For all of these stories and more, check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/US Army Central.
For U.S. Army Central, I am Sergeant Marty Borton.
And I'm Sergeant Bethany Huff. Thanks for watching.